On a beautiful sunny afternoon in Las Vegas, we saw another battle between owner-driver, mentor-student, two four-time champions battling side by side until the end. But it is 2 in a row for Jimmie Johnson, the 7th time in his career he's won back-to-back races, and he is now back in victory lane as the defending champion. As car owner Rick Hendrick looks on, he missed last week's victory, but he is here for this one to congratulate driver number 48 on win number 49. Hello, everybody, and welcome to NASCAR Victory Lane on Speed. I'm John Roberts. He is Kenny Wallace. He is Kyle Petty, and we're in the Neon Garage here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Right off the top, we got to congratulate these folks here because it was the 9th consecutive sellout at this racetrack. The fans came out in force, and guys, they saw a fantastic race.
My gosh, the race couldn't have been any better. We've been saying, give us some race in NASCAR. It's been outrageous. Daytona was incredible right to the start-finish. What about the race last week where Kevin Harvick trying to run down Jimmie Johnson and he gets into the wall? And this week, owner-driver Jeff Gordon finally has to give way to the guy he wanted to hire. Jeff Gordon told Rick Hendrick, I want to hire Jimmie Johnson. Now look what happened.
You know, a lot of drama in the last 25 or 30 laps of this race. And I think that's what it looks. When you run a cup race, that's what it's all about. It's about the drama. It's about putting yourself in the right position. And once again, the 48 car was in the right position.
Jimmie Johnson knows how to handle this, the victorious climb out after a race. As we mentioned a moment ago, he's done it 49 times. But what's amazing, they've only had 13 races here at Las Vegas. Jimmie Johnson has won 4 of them now.
Here he comes. Look at this guy. This is an athlete, Kyle, don't you think?
I don't think he sweats. I don't think he sweats.
And he's got the championship belt as well. Now, what this really came down to was a pit call. When you look back at the final pit stop, it was Jimmie Johnson, the number 48, opted for 4 tires. Jeff Gordon had 2, and in the end, Kyle, he just couldn't hold off the charging 48.
Yeah, you know, and I don't understand. You got to go back and you got to talk to Steve and you got to talk to Chad. Here's 2 teams that have run up front all day with 2 different strategies when it comes down to the last 20 or 30 laps of the race. 4 tires is, I believe 4 tires is what beat the 24 car. The 24 car had been the class of the field all day long. What did he lead? 250 laps?
All of them. Unofficially led 250 laps, I mean, and that's just about all of them.
Incredible. And then he gets passed in the last 17 or 18 laps of the race. But it came down to right here. This is an incident where track position was not the most important thing. 4 tires were more important than coming off pit road in the lead.
And you'll remember back to last year's race, it was Jimmie Johnson who led 92 laps, didn't win the race. He led the most, and this time it was Jeff Gordon, his teammate, who led the most laps, but did not go on to win the race. Let's take a quick look at the highlights. Of course, on Victory Lane, we'll have much more in-depth highlights for you later, but let's take a look as hometown hero Kurt Busch led us to the green flag with the pole position, a record-setting speed as he grabbed the pole, but on the inside was Jeff Gordon, and boy, he took off like a rocket ship after the first couple of laps and never looked back. So as we get a little bit later on in the race, we see trouble between 2 teammates here from the Earnhardt Ganassi stable. And Juan Pablo Montoya was none too happy after this as he got into it with teammate Jamie McMurray and Daytona 500 winner Jamie McMurray. But let's go back out now and see Jeff Gordon seemingly running away with this thing. He had won 1 time already at this racetrack, looking to make it 2 today. And it looked like it was going to be all Jeff Gordon. But we've learned over the years, do not ever write off a number 48 car when it's being driven by Jimmie Johnson. He takes the lead away with 16 laps to go. And then it was Jimmie Johnson on the 4 fresh tires who never looked back and continued all the way to the checkered flag for career win number 49, win number 4 at this racetrack, his 7th back-to-back. Yes, time to blow him a kiss because he is now the leader all-time in wins on a 1.5-mile track. This is his 15th win on a 1.5-mile oval. That is impressive for a guy who really hasn't been around all that long, but has won 4 championships. This is the reason why.
You know, you have to go a ways back to figure out who was the last driver this dominant. Well, I'm
going to say Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Gordon. I remember when Jeff Gordon won 10, 13 races in a year and was said, we'll never see anybody do this again, Kyle, and here we are. It's cyclical. It happens every, 10 years?
It seems like it does. You go counting backwards, you go Jimmie Johnson, you go Jeff Gordon, you go Dale Earnhardt, you go Darrell Waltrip. I mean, and go back to the King and those guys. But the funny part is he's leads all stats in mile-and-a-half racetracks. Remember, and if you go back to the time of Pearson and Petty and Darrell and some of those guys, they only had Charlotte. That was the only mile-and-a-half racetrack. Now we have 6 or 7. And Jimmie and those guys, that's the heart of the season. They dominate those racetracks.
They own this type of racetrack and a lot of other racetracks along the way as well. We're going to have a chance to talk to Jimmie about this, but there was no luck involved. This was simply a dominating performance at the right time for the number 48. NASCAR Victory Lane is fueled by Sunoco, and we'll be back with more in a moment.
NASCAR Victory Lane is fueled by Sunoco, the official fuel of NASCAR. Put the fuel of NASCAR in your car. Brought to you in part by Nature Valley Granola Bars, the taste nature intended. And by Atlanta Motor Speedway. Come see NASCAR's big boys play Capture the Flag at Atlanta Motor Speedway, March 5th through the 7th.
Welcome back, everyone, to NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco. You know, it's a little ironic that in a city run by luck, this is the supposedly unlucky number 13 race here at this racetrack. And there was no luck involved whatsoever for Jimmie Johnson. It was simply a performance of being in the right place at the right time. And they always like to say that luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity, and Jimmie Johnson got the opportunity today. As we waved the green flag on a beautiful sunny day, the 9th consecutive sellout at this racetrack, the Shelby American race was underway with hometown hero Kurt Busch leading us to the green flag. But watch out, the number 24 checked out.
And yes, you've seen it right. The number 2 of Kurt Busch picked the outside because he was your pole sitter, but it wasn't meant to be, Kyle. Look at here comes Jeff Gordon.
And Jeff just powers from the center of the corner out, and that's where he was really strong. And you'll hear later in some of the stuff that we did, Jeff said, I'm really struggling to get up off the corner. I need an adjustment to get up off the corner.
Can I please point out that it was a black SS with the navigation on it?
I think it was dialed in very well. Take a look at a good job of saving a race car. This one turned in by 43 driver A.J. Allmendinger. Whoop, right in front of Kim Kardashian. Or Mike Bliss, I'm sorry, and saves the car, gets it right back on the racetrack.
Well, what a save. I mean, you know, could have easily wrecked it and took out some cars.
Here goes Jeff Gordon, Kyle Petty, on his track to, well, pretty much dominate in this entire race.
And you know, if you watch Jeff from the time they dropped the green flag until the time he was passed there at the end, he ran in a lot of places on the racetrack. He worked this car all day long. This is the Jeff Gordon you used to see race, it seems like. He would find the sweet spot, no matter whether the sun was in, the sun was out. They would make adjustments for where they needed to be.
And that's what that progressive banking will do for you. Here comes Sam Hornish Jr. in the 77, spinning right pretty much into your living room and tearing up that nice sign in the infield.
Sam had been flirting with disaster early in the race. There were some great highlights where he was sideways, so he was getting everything he could get. But here we go. This is the big one.
All right, teammates here. The number 1, Jamie McMurray, number 42 of Juan Pablo Montoya, and pole sitter Kurt Busch kind of got the bad end of that deal, but afterwards there was a little bit of bad blood going on the part of Juan Pablo Montoya, not happy with his teammate.
Get back out, you know. I know he's trying to prove a point to show everybody he can drive a race car, but it really ruined our days. You know, this for the chase, it doesn't help. You know, we had a problem last week with the motor, and this week this is... It's painful. I don't know. He nearly run me into the fence out of 2 as well, and going to 3 and then playing simple just wrecked us. So I don't know. Not doing himself too many favors.
So tough break, and that certainly didn't do any favors for Kurt Busch as well. That pretty much ended any hopes for him to win this race today. Here's the 17, Matt Kenseth, Roush Fenway organization car with the 99, his teammate right in tow.
And one time right along in this period of time during the race, the top 6 cars were all Roush and all Hendricks, if you really looked at it. The 99 car, the 17 car, these guys were up there running. And you know, at this point in time, as the sun was out and the racetrack began to get a little warmer, I really thought the Fords had a shot at something today.
And we're going to have a little fun with this. You know, all the fans are saying, man, we need some action. So this was a phantom caution flag. Race fans, the truth be known, this was a malfunction in the wiring system. This was a caution that was not needed, and everybody slowed up. NASCAR's like, what? Oh, the caution lights are on. So this was pretty incredible. Usually they fall off.
Yeah, you don't see this very often. You also don't see this very often. Jeff Gordon, if I may quote Walter Sobchak from the Big Lebowski, over the line. He was over the line. He had to go back.
And a very uncharacteristic mistake by Jeff Gordon. You never see Jeff Gordon make a mistake, and that was a mistake. Really didn't cost him anything at that point in the race because it was just a gas and go.
Close call for Greg Biffle. A.J. Allmendinger pulling into his pits.
Yeah, but you know what? That's part of the sport. That was nobody's fault. You know, that's where Greg Biffle's crew chief has to go outside. So it is the crew chief's job to let him know, okay, Gray, you're pulling out outside. That's just the way it goes. Nobody's fault there.
And there's certainly not much real estate on pit road, no matter where you go.
They only give you a small box to live in, man. It's kind of like the jail cell. You got to stay inside your cell.
I like
And those,
that.
those are big, heavy race cars with not too many places to go. Stick with us here on NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco. When we come back, we'll take you down to the checkered flag and also have winner Jimmie Johnson come over and talk to us about this win and that championship belt. Welcome back to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, where the number 48 team is celebrating career win number 49 for Jimmie Johnson. And they know how to do this. They know how to do the hat dance, and they know how to celebrate, because for the 7th time in Jimmie Johnson's career, he has won back-to-back races in the Sprint Cup Series. Now, you heard Juan Pablo Montoya just a moment ago talk about the chase. Well, we're only 3 races in, but still we're very close to the cutoff time when you have to either make or break your run for the championship. So with that in mind, let's go back to the action at the halfway mark of this race, pick it back up with none other than Jeff Gordon leading the race.
You know, this looks like the Jeff Gordon when he won 10, 13 races in a year, Kyle. But, you know, look close. Now the 48 is starting to come into the picture.
Yeah, but you know what? This is the same thing we've talked about on race day, and we've talked about 2 or 3 times this year. Who's their competition? It's each other. They're just racing each other right now. But, you know, used to when it was just Jeff, before Jimmie came along, it was just Jeff out there doing it. But
And now, and Mark Martin, their teammate, finishes 4th. He's not far behind. So, yes, Hendrick was up there all day.
And when Jimmie Johnson's in your rearview mirror, even if you're a 4-time champion, you need to be afraid. You need to be very afraid, because chances are he's coming to get you. But also, in the process here, Jeff Gordon puts Dale Earnhardt Jr. a lap down.
But in Dale Jr.'s defense, this guy was rolling. At this point in the game, Dale Jr. is running 11th. So come on, the 24 is rolling.
yeah, you know, during this, they run 100 laps of green, and he lapped up to the 10th place guy during that 100 laps of green. So there were a lot of guys that were running pretty good that got lapped.
Here are the crucial pit stops we were talking about before as the number 24 comes in. Their election was to take 2 tires. The number 48 team, well, their election was to take 4 tires. And as we saw in the end, you know, you got to take these gambles. You can't fault anybody for trying, Kyle, but 4 prevailed.
No, you can't fault what Steve did. You got to applaud what Chad did in the end. And Chad could just as easily be sitting here second. He and Jimmie be sitting here second with a 4-tire change. I think the big thing is nobody really understood the left side tire. And I think a lot of people thought that the left side tire, by being a different compound, by being a different construction, it may work for us to keep our track position and just change those right side tires.
As a race car driver, I'm in the car and I'm thinking, okay, is he going to let me make my mind up? You know, do I want 2? Do I want 4? But this situation is where the crew chief makes the call. But look at this. They split the 33 of Clint Boyer. And race fans, this is what we've been asking for. The show is on. This is it. This is coming down to 30 laps to go.
And let me tell you something. As strong as the Childress organization has run the first 3 races this year, to split Boyer on a restart is huge.
And can I say this? Looky here. The 29 is right there. He's in 4th. Okay, so he had his shot. It is just that the Hendrick cars took off really fast.
And we saw one of the classic battles that we've seen so many times over the years. This is an owner-driver combination here. This is a mentor and a student, and it's 2 4-time champions battling for the lead.
And I'm going to tell you, Jimmie tried him high, Jimmie tried him low. Jimmie worked him. And Jeff never gave up. It's not like Jeff just pulled over and said, okay, he's got 4 tires. When he got to this point right here, I think Jeff knew that the tires had equalized and Jimmie was going to be better at this point in time. But that's 16 laps to go. But there was 15 or 16 laps of good, solid racing.
You might say, why did Jeff Gordon let off early? That wasn't the case. The 48 drove in that hard.
And still driving hard all the way to the checkered flag as Jimmie Johnson comes around in defense of his 4th title. The drive for 5 is still very much alive. We've only had 3 races so far this season, and Jimmie Johnson has won 2 of them. That's a pretty good percentage so far. We will take that batting average, and I think anybody that says this team is lucky, well, you don't want to say that, because what it did was it got them fired up, and they came out and won the thing. Another fantastic run for Kevin Harvick. Not going to be too long before we see him at a victory lane near you. And another great run for Joey Logano as well, finishing 6th.
Yeah, and Clint Boyer, he's the, you know, he's a Childress car. And Casey Kane, that's his best run so far in a Ford. So he's climbing up the ladder.
2 weeks in a row, Biffle in 10th, and there's you know, the 17 car, another top 10 finish for him.
You know, we got to give a shout out to Paul Menard. He has got all top 20 finishes this year. He's going to be higher in the points than he's ever been.
And we did a thing on race day about Marcus Ambrose. 2 bad races. To come back and run a solid 14th is a good points day for them, because you're talking about top 35 points. That's a big day for those guys.
Kyle Busch had a car that could have won this thing, but he got caught on pit road for speeding, had to do a drive-through penalty, and that relegated him back to the 15th spot. So that really isn't indicative of where he ran all day. Pretty good run for Scott Speed in the 82, finishing 22. A.J. Allmendinger in the 43 is 25.
And I don't know what happened here, but Dave Blaney, his car was taken away from him last week because he was starting for a car. Kyle looks like he runs the whole race this time.
Yeah, maybe they told him he had to run the whole race to get the car back. I don't know, but he did run the whole race, and normally he is. You got Brian Vickers back here, you got Pappas, Jamie McMurray in that accident that involved Kurt Busch and Juan Pablo Montoya.
Joe Nemechek, Michael McDowell, and Eric Almirola, they were the last finishers up, 41, 42, and 43. And let's take a look at the championship standings after just 3 of the 36 races. But we remind you that that cutoff comes after 26 races to see who is going to be in this thing. And this is the way the top 12 looks right now.
Only in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series can Jimmie Johnson win 2 out of 3 races, Kyle, and be 63 points back. What?
That is true.
How does that work?
I know, but you got to look at what Kevin's done. Kevin's put together top 3 finishes almost everywhere he's been, and that's a tip of the hat to those guys.
When we come back to Las Vegas, race winner Jimmie Johnson is going to come by and talk to us. And you know what? We had a lot of fun this weekend here in Las Vegas. We shot the first episode of Fast Track to Fame. It's the kind of shot that you see talent, well, not like squirting a champagne bottle, but different kinds of talent, and it's coming to speed on Monday night. Well, at this point, we may say that the number 48 was lucky in race number 13 at Vegas, but there was simply no luck about this one. The winner and still champion with the belt is heavyweight contender Jimmie Johnson. Jimmy, congratulations, man. Great run. You had it when you needed it at the end. Jeff Gordon was so strong, but those 4 tires were what you guys needed.
Yeah, it really made the difference at the end. I wasn't sure I would get away from Jeff because, I mean, it took everything I could just to get alongside of him, all those laps I was trying. And once I got by him, we got away from him, and off we went. So great effort today. We had a great race car, really loose at the start of the race, and I just hung on to it. And I have to say, though, this track rubbered in really well. And we had a much wider racetrack than we've ever seen. So my hat's off to Goodyear on bringing a great tire and putting on, giving us a chance to race side by side all day long.
While you were over there, I was on Twitter, and one of the reporters tweeted something that Jeff Gordon said. It says, if you're going to get beat, make sure you're getting a piece of it. That's one thing he said. So obviously it. And second, we're like every other competitor out here. We're pissed off about this today. You know what I mean? And how does that make you feel as a competitor when you know those guys you're making them mad every Sunday?
Man,
good. Say good.
It's good.
It makes me feel dang good.
It makes me feel damn good.
That's good, baby. That's your answer.
No, it does. And what I was going to say is it's so great when it's internally within our shop,
yes,
because we are going to make Hendrick Motorsports stronger by racing each other that hard week in and week out. So I know Jeff is pissed. When I got by him, I could see the steam blowing out of his ears as I got by, because he doesn't want to lose. And that's just part of it. I'd be the same way, especially leading as much as he did. I mean, he had a great race today.
Okay, right here. This is what I want to know. He pins you down here. You're loose right here.
Yep.
But the pass for the lead, did you drive in any harder, or did he let off and say, I give?
I made sure I drove in hard enough to where he knew I was going to end up in the outside lane. So I was going for a slide job here. Tony's race at Eldora has helped me learn this move, and I made sure that I got in deep enough, and I was shocked the car stuck. I thought, man, I should have been driving in that hard all day. It's going to stick.
And that's what I wanted to know. Sometimes it's like, did Jeff finally give, but you drove it in that hard? Good job.
I think it might have been a little of both, because you know how it is when what went through my mind was Carl Edwards at Kansas when he went blowing by me. I kind of paused and went, where is he going? Well, I wanted to do that same thing to Jeff because I wanted the outside line, so I just stayed committed to the gas, and I think it might have done a little of both.
Okay, 2 weeks in a row that you're the winner. We're sitting here. I just got one question for you. What do you think Harvick has to say about your win this week?
There's no horseshoe involved in this week's race. There's no horseshoe there. That was earning it on pit road, on the racetrack, and behind the wheels. So, but to speak of Harvick, that team's doing great, man. They finished second. RCR has turned things around, and Kevin's going to be a blast to race with all year long. I know we're going to put on a great show for the fans.
We've had you on Victory Lane all at the end of last year. We didn't have you on Victory Lane in Daytona. Do you have any questions for us?
We're out. We're out of questions.
We're done with questions already.
Where was a good dinner place for this, in Vegas? Where'd you guys go? I'm going to stick around tonight.
Piero's.
Piero's?
I'm ready to go home. I've been in Vegas since Sunday night, and I have dust coming out of my pockets.
I'm not here until Tuesday night because of a Lowe's appearance. You imagine I can get in any trouble tonight?
You
Absolutely.
With that belt, you can get in trouble, baby. You wear that belt, you'll get in trouble.
I expect you to be on TMZ.com. Here's Jimmie Johnson with the champagne bottle.
And the belt on. And the belt on.
You
Jimmy Kyle. Oh, I'm sorry, Kenny.
No, I agree with Kyle. You better wear that belt all night long.
I'll
Might
try.
not match the outfit, though. Anyway, Jimmy, Kyle reminded us this morning of a pretty good quote that luck is what happens when opportunity meets preparation. I mean, you can't luck into these things, to these races at all, because you got to be there to win it. But when you hear that, how much incentive was that for you guys to go out and clean up on everybody today?
Truthfully, I don't pay attention to a lot of it. I don't watch a lot of the shows or read because, truthfully, over the last few years, no one has really had anything nice to say about me.
We just want
So
Victory
why
Lane,
pay
don't we?
attention?
'Cause
No,
you're here.
You do. But just opinions of things, I just don't get involved. I don't read. I don't watch. I just go out and do my thing week in and week out. And I make sure that I carry myself with class and style, and I respect people, and I treat people how I want to be treated. And I feel in the end, people will understand that about me, and things will work itself out. So luck last week gave us the position to lead the race, but it didn't win the race. And I had to go out there and earn it and hold off the 29.
I would like to talk and follow up on what you just said. I have, throughout my career, when something doesn't go my way by a reporter, that's good psychological sportsmanship. I mean, you do say, I'm not going to watch anything. I'm just going to drive my car.
It's really worked well for me over the years. And in some ways, I think it hurts me because I don't understand what people are saying, and I could say more when I have an opportunity on camera to say, oh, well, that was wrong, or kind of shape people's opinions. But, man, that's just playing into the
and you don't know.
the system, and I don't care. My deal is to come in here and drive that race car as fast as I can and win races.
Well, Jimmy, you can always watch Victory Lane because you know you're going to be on it. It's
Well,
gonna be
I'll watch Victory Lane when I win.
Hey, and also our friends at Sunoco want you to sign the traditional flag again, and we want to remind the race fans that each week here on NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco, one lucky fan will receive a checkered flag autographed by the winner of the race. Enter online at speedtv.com.
Good run.
Congratulations to Jimmie Johnson. Rick Hendrick is coming up next.
Dude, you are so strong.
Ask anybody who spent some time in Vegas, they'll tell you it's all about the numbers out here. But here is a number for you. For Hendrick Motorsports, 190 victories. It was the 49th for Jimmie Johnson, for Hendrick Motorsports altogether, and owner Rick Hendrick, 190. That is a heck of an accomplishment.
Man, I'll tell you, it just means you've been doing this a long time.
But you've been good, too.
Oh,
You've been good.
No, it's great to see the cars run that well. You hate to see any one of them not win the race when Jeff ran that good, but he's back running really strong, and we're excited about the year.
Rick, I see you in Victory Lane a lot, but I noticed something this Victory Lane that I don't see that much. When Jimmy came into Victory Lane, you were about 4 foot from the door staring at him. you seemed excited, more excited than normal.
Let me tell you, a couple of years ago, we had 2,000 Lowe's employee owners outside the track.
I know where you're
We ran
going.
as sorry as we ever ran in my racing career. Every car, all of us. And we had to go in that tent after the race, and I was just sitting there thinking, man, we got that same deal tomorrow night here. And I said, it's a lot better this year. So I was just waiting for him to get his helmet off. So,
Good job.
I got here early this time.
Jeff put you guys on the map, really, in a lot of ways. I think Jeff did. And I made the comment, Jeff come up and said something to Jimmy right here, and when Jeff walked off, I said, that was the old Jeff Gordon today. The way you drove in the corner, the way you held Jimmy, that was the old Jeff Gordon. Do you see difference in Jeff this year than maybe what you've seen the last couple of years?
Yeah, I saw at the end of the season, he started a really hard workout routine. He and Stevie were going out on these team building trips, and he focused on the team and every aspect of what they had. How could they be better? And he's got the bit in his mouth. I mean, he wants number 5 in a really big way, and I'm excited about it. I mean, it's just he drove the wheels off that car today. I don't care. It's hard to be the best car all day long. And one time he got shuffled a little bit, and he was digging all the way back to the front. So I'm excited. Mark had a good run. Junior had a good run. Right there at the end, I was hoping maybe be a little bit of a pig and wanted to have.
That's all right.
But they ran well here today, and that's when you can go away from the racetrack knowing that you had multiple options, and both of the guys, all four of them ran good at times, and Mark just had a little slow start, but then and he was coming at the end, maybe one more adjustment, so we'll take it. It's I was worried about Harvick. They've been running really good, so.
Thought maybe Jeff might be doing the hot yoga with Mark Martin. Mark Martin was telling us that Daytona is doing the hot yoga. I said I'd heard of yogurt, but not yoga. But anyway, Rick, we hear all the time from the other competitors that this game right now is so competitive that you can be off one fraction of anything and be 10th place instead of first. Well, how is it that you guys maintain that 10th of a fraction above it?
I don't really know. I think we were not as good as the Childress cars at California, and we ended up pulling out a win. And you look at how far those cars have come, Richard and his crowd, since about mid-season last year. And they've gained more than we have. And the thing is, you try to be the best you can be, and there's so many good teams out there, and they're going to be, any of the teams. I mean, there's so many good teams. Richard's teams are really had the Petty crowd. They're running good. Everybody's so close. And, just a little bit of, half a pound of air here. And really track position, you've got to qualify up near the front. If you qualify in the back, it takes you all day. I don't care how much better you are to get to the front. So qualifying's another race in its own. We're always beating on the guys for horsepower and, handling, and it's never enough, right?
Never enough, man.
Rick, does it help you? You talk about Richard Petty Motorsports getting better. You talk, about Childress. But does it help you to have 4 race cars on your own team racing against each other?
Absolutely. I mean, and work as well as they do together. That's been the key in our camp. Even though they battle each other, these crew chiefs will do their recap of the day, and they know exactly what the other guy has, and the drivers talking to each other, and they know if it comes down to what happened today, then it's been a success, because we've got 2 cars or 3 cars up there capable of winning the race, and I think it motivates each one. I know Jeff, when Jimmie got 4 championships, he's got 4. That motivated Jeff. He wants to get number 5 before Jimmie gets number 5. So that little competition internally is all good.
That is good. Now I'm going to ask you a question here, a little bit off subject. Kenny here, he's my driver, and I was watching the Nationwide stuff, and on the back of one of the Hendrick's cars, it has HendricksCars.com,
yep.
And they were talking about you sell 6,000 cars a month or 6,000 cars a year or whatever it is. Look, and my comment was, I only want to buy 1 car, and we're in Vegas to make money. Can I buy that car over there for my driver right here? I just want to buy the 48 car right there. You can make money right here,
and
Rick.
Kenny would love
You can make
that.
money.
I could sell it to you, but I'm not sure Chad would let you pick it up.
Yeah, that's good, man.
The Hendrick Cars deal is we've got about 5,000 to 6,000 cars between our dealerships in the used car area, and they're a website, and everybody can go to it. And next week, Mark's going to be running that. So
oh, cool.
Going to give away his uniform.
Cool, man.
So
nice.
It's been a big deal for our dealerships, and it's helped us a lot. So we're excited about that too.
Well, Rick, you got 9 championships on your shirt, 190 wins under your belt. Keep up the good work. Congratulations.
I'm an old man. I got to get 10 more and more championships.
Then you go retire.
Yeah, you got 10 more. No, you can't retire yet. we need Rick around. And race fans, we want to remind you that we got a big truck race coming up this weekend in Atlanta as the favorites fell in Daytona. Timothy Peters proved he isn't a one-hit wonder. Now the newest truck star leads the field into Atlanta, where everyone runs on the ragged edge. Don't miss the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series live from Atlanta Saturday at 1:30. Welcome back, everyone, to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway and NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco. They call this place Sin City, and it's almost a sin to think that so often in Sprint Cup competition, the driver that leads the most laps does not go on to win the race. Jeff Gordon had him covered up pretty much from start to finish today until teammate Jimmie Johnson took over at the end. Let's now go to Bob Dillner, who spoke with Jeff Gordon after the race.
All right, when you look at the history books, you'll see that Jeff Gordon dominated this race in Sin City, but your teammate, Jimmie Johnson, winds up winning. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, but would you have taken 4 tires on that pit stop, Jeff?
Well, I mean, it's a tough call. We came here to win, and we talked about it all day long. And maybe looking back on, that maybe there were only 11 cars, but I think Steve thought there was more guys going to take 2 tires. I thought more guys would take 2 tires. I thought it was the right call, but when the 48 came out behind us on 4, I was like, uh-oh. And we got a great restart, held them off as long as we could, made a race out of it, but I knew it was a matter of time, just too many laps to go. But I'm so excited and proud of this DuPont Pepsi Max Chevrolet, and this team is just awesome right now, and I think we showed it today. We just showed what we're capable of, when we qualify good, when we have great pit stops and great calls, and we're up there, out front. Track position means so much that we can dominate, and I think we're also going to show that we can win. So while it's disappointing, I'm very, very disappointed. At the same time, I feel like we got a lot of positives to take out of this to go get us more wins this year.
Jeff Gordon simply said by the 4-time champ.
Bob, at the number 24 and 48 shop at Hendrick Motorsports, there's 8 holes in the wall. 4 of them have Jeff Gordon's 4 Sprint Cup Championship Cups up there. Well, there's 4 holes left, and the reason behind that was that Richard Petty, Dale Earnhardt had 7 championships. These guys knew they're capable of going for 8. It could happen, and the number 5, like Rick Hendrick told us, there's a great inter-team rivalry going on between Jimmie Johnson and Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Gordon does not know it right now, but he's not going to quit at 40 years old. There was this deal going on the last 3 years that, 2010, 2011, wait for a big announcement from Jeff Gordon because he'll be 40 years old. Let me tell you something. With that fire in his eye, and now that, they're tied, Jimmie Johnson and Jeff Gordon at 4 championships apiece, Cal Petty, I don't think he's going to quit at 45.
Yeah, he's got there's fire. You heard Rick say it. He's recommitted himself. He and Steve have. But I'm going to tell you something. The only reason Jeff Gordon's not filled in those other 4 spots to have 8 is because of Jimmie Johnson.
Yeah, exactly.
And now let's be honest about it. Yeah. I mean, your own teammates getting in your way of breaking Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt's record. You know what I mean? Because I think everybody thought when Jeff busted off those first 4, it's like, my God.
Watch out.
Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt better be looking over their shoulders as far as the record book goes. But, I think when you look at the races that Jimmie has won and that Jeff has finished second in, okay, let's go back and just do that and take Jimmie out of the equation. Jeff's a champion a couple of more times.
Absolutely. A lot more championships. And as we said a moment ago, 9 championships for Hendrick Motorsports, 190 wins. Those are some pretty impressive numbers. This is NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco. And don't forget, Monday at 8, see the premiere of Fast Track to Fame on Speed. Welcome back to NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco. The number 14 car, driven by Tony Stewart, getting packed up, heading back east after 2 weeks on the West Coast. P7 for Tony Stewart, a great 7th place finish for him. But when it talk about finishes in the top 10 at the beginning of this season, the Richard Childress racing cars have it going on. Matter of fact, today they finished 2nd, 8th, and 11th, and they have had all 3 of their cars in the top 11 in the first 3 races of the season. And that charge today was led by Kevin Harvick. Let's go back to Bob Dillner.
Kevin Harvick still on a roll. Another top 5 finish for you, another top 10 as well. But that battle with Gordon, you got him at the end.
Yeah, our Pennzoil Ultra Chevy was, really good all day, and Gil made a great call in the middle of the race with no tires and got us a track position. And once we got track position, we could race with them. They just got away from me a little bit. My car was a little bit too free the last 2 runs on the restarts, but it would really come on at the end of the run. So good day for us. It's been a great start to the year and I'm really enjoying it.
Good day, but I think it's a great day because you had to come from a little further back in the pack as well. You really charged hard today.
Yeah, and those are things that we haven't been able to do over the past couple of years. When you know you have good cars, and then you get stuck in the back, and we weren't able to make up ground like that. And today we're able to make up ground. Last week we were able to make up ground. So that's a good sign that you're not so dependent just on track position to run good. You can be in the back and still pass cars.
All right, Kevin Harvick and his teammate Clint Boyer atop the standings.
We mentioned a couple times this year, but it was pretty cool when Kevin Harvick won that Budweiser shootout. He came over to us in Victory Lane on this very desk, and he said, this time we finish it. Referring, of course, to last year when they didn't run as well as they wanted to. But, they started this process a long time ago of turning that RCR racing stable around.
Well, you say to yourself, okay, this is the same driver. Kevin Harvick is the same driver as last year. And fans want to say, who's a good driver, who's a bad driver? Race fans. All 43 are good drivers. Don't think any differently. And this is the proof, Kyle, that race cars matter. They're not all built the same. He's with the same team, and he's running way better right now.
But if we go back, once again, if we go back to race day this morning, Richard Childress said this process started, May, June of last year to get us to this point. And I think Kevin showed up. We talk about Jeff having renewed vigor and ready to go drive. I think Harvick and those guys rededicated themselves. Just like he said, we're going to finish this year. And when you take a team like that who was out of the running for 2/3 of last year, and they come out the first 3 races and they finished in the top 11 with 3 cars. Basically they're 30% of the cars in the top 10 are their cars, or thereabouts all year so far this year. That's a huge statement to the rest of the teams.
And it got a little ugly at RCR last year in that time. Kevin was saying he wanted to leave because they weren't running right. And fans, we got to remind you that it's not that these guys are crybabies.
No.
It's these guys work 7 to 7, 7 days a week. When you get emotional in that situation, and when things don't go exactly right, everybody's out there to compete. They want to win. That's when the emotions come out.
We're happy here at Speed that we can talk about behind-the-scenes situations that went on. And like you said, Kevin Harvick, halfway through the 2009 season last year, said, I want out. This is ridiculous. These cars are horrible. They don't run. You better straighten yourself up. Kyle, how great is it to be a driver that is that confident in your ability where you're telling your owner, I want better cars, and then he gives them to him?
Yeah, a little ugly, that's an understatement right there. It got a lot ugly. When a driver says that, it gets a lot ugly internally. But I think what the Childress organization is, you've got Kevin on one end of the spectrum who wears his heart on his sleeve. He's going to voice his opinion. He's going to tell you his emotions. He's going to tell you exactly where he stands. If you watch the Nationwide race, he told that pit crew yesterday where they stood with him all day long, and he still won the race. But at the same time, on the other end of that spectrum, you've got Jeff Burton, a calming influence who walks through the shop, who gets things done in a quite methodical way. So you've got those two energies coming together with Richard Childress at the helm of it, and you're going to have the finishes that they've got.
And also this morning on race day, Richard Childress said, don't get too high at the highs, don't get too low at the lows, and you'll make it through this thing, because there are a lot of peaks and valleys when it comes to NASCAR's top series. We're going to take another quick break here from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, but you know what? We're going to pack it up and go out to Atlanta next Friday. Coverage begins at noon Eastern time. Probably going to be a little different weather situation. It'll be a little bit more chilly, so bring your coat, Kenny, but it's going to take a lot more than a little cold to stop us.
NASCAR Victory Lane is fueled by Sunoco, the official fuel of NASCAR. Put the fuel of NASCAR in your car, and brought to you in part by eHarmony.com. Are you ready to fall in love?
Speed Primetime is packed with NASCAR fun with NASCAR Race Hub presented by Hooters at 7:30. And then comes the premiere of Fast Track to Fame at 8. The Racing Chef comes at you at 9 p.m., followed by the Sounds of NASCAR at 9:30. NASCAR in a Hurry at 10. And then Jimmy Spencer's Senior Excitement at 10:30 with What's the Deal? It all begins Monday at 7:30 Eastern, only on Speed. Now, there is a myth in NASCAR about the sophomore jinx. A lot of drivers don't do well in their second season in Sprint Cup competition. But as of right now, Joey Logano is carrying the banner for Joe Gibbs Racing. 8th in points. He is the highest points placing driver for Joe Gibbs Racing. And he had another top 10 today. Let's go back to Bob.
Another darn good run for Joey Logano, 2 in a row, and one heck of a battle for that 5th spot there, right down to the line.
Yeah, I wanted that second top 5 in a row there, but I tell you, it's another good Home Depot Toyota again. This is a place that I came into actually kind of expected to run good after last week, and I tell you, it's awesome to be running up there, and the confidence grows big time every time you get out there and you get a good top 10 or close to a top 5. That's what we need to do every week, and if we keep running like that, eventually wins are going to come up. So if we keep doing that, we're going to be all right.
You know what? You alluded last week in California that you and Zippy had a heart-to-heart after Daytona. What the heck did you talk about? Because you guys are on fire now.
It must have worked. We just talked about what we need to do to make it better in our adjustments. I felt like our adjustments Daytona weren't where we need to be. We'd over-adjust one way and back the other way. With here, last 2 races, we've been doing a lot better job, and me giving him better information and him making a lot better adjustments to make our race car better throughout the race. So the cool part is we didn't take off the best today in the race. We fell back to 16th, 17th, and tail drive back to the front. It's exciting.
2 straight top 10s for Joey Logano.
And Bob, the former driver, that number 20, now driver, the number 14, and owner as well, Tony Stewart, had a great run as well today. Let's go back to Bob.
Tony Stewart with the top 10 finish here at Las Vegas. First of all, just tell me about your day. You smiling, or are you not exactly happy?
We're all right. We ended up 7th, but you always want more.
What was the deal with your car today? It just looked like it wasn't quite where you wanted it to be all day long.
I struggled on restarts. I couldn't. It took me a couple laps to get going, and you know, you lose so much time here on restarts like that. So just makes it a long day.
Long day for Tony Stewart. He's sweating a little bit, but he's got another top 10 finish.
Bob, thanks a lot. Now, earlier on NASCAR Victory Lane, we heard from Juan Pablo Montoya, who was involved in a wreck with his teammate that we see happening right here. And there's always two sides to every story. And Jamie McMurray gives us good reason to understand why NASCAR is different, that you hear raw emotion that you don't hear in other sports.
I don't know. I mean, you're probably just frustrated for what happened on the racetrack. So you guys probably shouldn't put a lot of stock into what he said. When you ask somebody something immediately after getting crashed, they typically don't have nice things to say.
And Jamie makes a great point there. You know, there's normally a cooling off period in every other major league sport where people have time to chill out. Juan Pablo's getting right out of that car right after he wrecked. Doesn't matter who wrecks him, teammate or anybody. Kyle, there's emotion involved.
There is emotion, you know, and this is the only sport that ever don't make me laugh, man.
Why are you laughing, man? This is serious stuff.
I said we love having fun. I said, this is Joey Logano, and this is Jamie McMurray.
That's really nice, Kenny. Now can we get back to the discussion?
Okay, and there is
there's your visuals. Now we're getting back to the discussion.
Visuals. We're going to go off there. And there is emotion. This is the only sport where, I mean, 2 minutes ago, you were out there running 190 miles an hour. The next thing you know, you got a microphone jammed in front of your face, and they're like, what the crap happened to you, dude? What happened out there? And, you know, and Juan is never going to hold back.
No.
But I think it is emotional. You know, a lot of that is emotion. If that would have been the other way around and Jamie had been standing in there, he would have been saying stuff and talking about whoever he was involved in.
I think we should all debate. Do we give – okay, the one gets into the 42 here. The 42 is interviewed less than 5 minutes after this. We should debate, do we give the driver a cooling off period like they do in baseball and football?
No way.
I don't think so, because I think that's what makes NASCAR NASCAR.
You hear them?
No cooling down
yes
here.
or no, race fans?
No, I want to hear them slam each other.
I want to hear
that, baby.
Emotion.
I want to hear it.
Come here week in and week out. The 9th consecutive sellout for the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Absolutely beautiful day. Great race. We remind you the hubs coming your way on Monday at 7:30. Now let's take a look in the rearview mirror.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Boogity, boogity, boogity. Viva Las Vegas, boys.
Awesome stuff, guys. Thank you. Awesome stuff. Great adjustment, Chad.